Hello, everybody. It's Hobbypalooza time, guys. Thank you very much for being here. It's Ziggy now. I got Brian from Brian's Basketball Cards, guys. I hope you're doing well. I'm going to cover just a couple things real quickly. I'm going to wait for people to matriculate in the room. I'll let you know, guys, as you can see from where I am, I'm in my car. I got stuck in traffic today in 95 in the Washington, D.C. area. So I just pulled over, hit a Starbucks. So I'm doing this Hobbypalooza from Starbucks. Super excited. We're going to start this off by telling some hobby stories. I've invited some guests to join us. I have Brian here. He's going to start off the show, and I've got some other guests that are going to matriculate in. I want to share my first Hobbypalooza story, and then we'll kind of go into this a little more. But when I think of Hobbypalooza, I think back to 2020, right? I got into the YouTube sports card space. I started putting other channels. And the first thing I loved about the sports card channel at that time was it was very friendly. There was so much new content going on. Everything was exciting. And I don't know if you guys follow this, but the big guy back then was PSA Collector. PSA Collector was a guy who had the most channel people, and he used to do those videos on submissions and cards. And he did a collaboration with the Hobby Box and this Les Alex guy. And I was like, man, the hobby's great. Everybody gets along. We all love each other. Well, that's not necessarily true. Fast forward, June, I think it was July of 2020, Hobbypalooza comes out, and what I loved about it was it really was hobby love. It was Mike, baseball card collector, and a bunch of other guys who were not able to go to the National, said, hey, let's virtually meet, right? Zoom was big. Everybody was meeting in these virtual calls and stuff. And those guys said, let's do a hobby together, getting together, and let's share that with the audience. And it was awesome because at that time, it was the first time I really saw a community come together. It wasn't about investments. No one cared about flipping. In fact, one of the things I love about Hobbypalooza is it's really about the cards, the collecting. In fact, I was listening to Silver Jackify earlier, and I laughed when I think it was LA Beast asked him, tell me about the valuation of the cards. And Silver Jackify did the best job explaining valuations of cards without saying valuations of cards, without using numbers, because he's a collector. And I love that about Hobbypalooza. So today, guys, this is Hobbypalooza. I'm going to have my guests talk about the hobby, share little tips and tricks, share hobby stories with you guys. I want to make this fun and positive. I look forward. I'll be watching the chat as well. We'll kind of be winging it as well. So I'm going to start off. Brian, I'm going to introduce you. I've been following Brian for a while now. He's got a small channel. I really like his channel. I love his passion for the hobby. He's into basketball.
Thank
what
you.
really got me into Brian, though, was what you do with the e-cards on Upper Deck, which is the most underappreciated manufacturer in the market, in my opinion, and the e-cards. So I'm going to let Brian give a little introduction story and then share a little bit. I'm going to mute and go from there. Brian, take it off.
Okay. Well, thanks, guys. Yes, I'm Brian Basketballs. I've been on YouTube since February of 21, but I've been a collector for my entire life. I guess it's a trait that we have that you can't get rid of. If you're a collector, you're a collector. If you're an investor, that's a totally different thing. That's a different trait that you have. So anyway, I decided to start my channel once I found out about what has gone on in the hobby. And mine was just to document my path.
Yep.
Because I don't really need to sell my cards. I wanted to enjoy my cards with the community. And it was just to basically get them on film.
Yep.
And then I started thinking, well, there's no videos from the old days. There's very few from the old shows that had happened. And I noticed that there's a lot of content being pumped out, but not taking a focus on the cards. It's about the hobby. All right. I wanted to focus on the cards, the beauty of the cards, what they meant to us as kids.
Yep.
And so anyway, that's what my channel's about.
Let me pause you, but I'll say, Brian, what I think, because I know there's some guys watching right now who have channels similar to yours.
Right.
And I think the challenge is they're small because there's a lot of guys like you have the same love and passion. They're just not getting the hobby love and the views they should. And that's exactly why I have you on. And I hope, guys, if you have a channel like Brian's, check us out, network with him, right? Because there's a lot of you guys who are very similar, have passions, who share experiences. And he shares what he does with e-cards. So I apologize. But again, I love what you're doing, Brian.
Hey, no, you know what? That's a great segue, Ziggy, because I haven't even spoken to you about it. But there was a community hashtag that was started years ago, over 2 years ago now, and I wasn't even involved. It was called Cardmunity. Hashtag Cardmunity. You go put that in the search engine, and you'll pull up 125 channels right now. And if you don't know how to do it, come to my channel. I'll show you how to do it. That's one of my things, is that I enjoy showing people my failures, what I failed doing. I had a failure going into Comp C, guys, like you would not believe. But you know what? I own it.
You still use it though.
I still use it, sure.
And
I transfer cards over from Upper Deck to it. So yeah, I use it.
Brian, it's interesting you say failure. I think you learned from it.
I did.
Because I see other people who use it in different ways. That's one thing, again, I'll say is that if you use ComC and you are frustrated, look at it from a different perspective. The guy who does once, I get sports cards once again, he's in China and he uses ComC, totally different way to use it. And I love his perspective. I saw your frustration with it though, right? And I can understand that. And it's funny.
You did comment. I remember that.
I bulk sell with it. I don't use it. Like everybody uses ComC in a different way. I'm not a buyer on ComC. I'm a bulk seller. I sell portfolios on ComC. That's my thing. So anyway.
You know what? That's something that we could probably talk about. You could talk back with your next guest because I've never done that. I have heard about that. Just taking, and that was another thing is I went to shows and I could set up at a show, guys, and someone come up like we heard. I heard one of the streamers doing earlier today that was out there at the Chantilly show, I believe, at 9 a.m. Yeah, it was Ryan. At 9 a.m. The guy, the dealer, sold his table out at 9 a.m. as a one-day show. So wow. Are you a collector? Or are you a dealer?
So this was that Ryan? Was that card collector too, Ryan?
No, Ryan, the gentleman that does the fraud cards, the one that makes sure that
breakout cards.
Breakout cards, yes. Yeah. I was watching, and he was there, and he told that story. I'm like, wow, that's interesting.
There's a lot of that going on right now. I mean, there's definitely that opportunity where I have seen that too, where people are like, hey, just buy it all, right? Where there's some liquidation events going on. That's going to happen in a market like this. And that's a great opportunity for people too, you know?
And there have been a lot of people, and I have spoke to people because I've been to the Dallas show, and I've spoke to people. I met other content creators down there. And some of the things that we spoke about is I asked them, how long have you been in the hobby? He says, well, which time?
Yeah.
I sold everything back and then, and I started again. I went and bought a collection as my starting pool, spend up $500, just go buy a bunch of boxes from somebody and just start it that way and just start your collection that way. But there again, you don't have to spend a lot of money because that's what Upper Deck is like, because you can get a free card on there every night. You can get free card, free digital stuff.
And let me quickly just say, I want to say thank you guys. I see that 70s card shows out there. Lou Rock TV, thank you for joining 357. Crazy Kev, you're in the same area. I was at Chantilly yesterday as well. That 70s show, I am in the back seat of the cop car, but they're going to let me do the show first, and then they're taking me down. So I'll call for bail later. But that was very well said. Guys, I was going to say, one thing I love about sports cards, and this is one perspective I've had, is sports cards are something that every man can enjoy. And what I mean by that is you can be a Joe Schmo working hard, and I don't want to say poor, but you don't have to have a lot of money to enjoy cards. Or you can be some, extravagant, rich, wealthy person, and we're in the same community. And you know what's really crazy about that? The differentiator besides money is knowledge, right? So a poor man with a lot of knowledge in sports cards is a lot more nimble than a rich man with no knowledge, right?
True.
And I think that's what kind of grounds us. I think I like that. Like one of my favorite guys is Pepino Man because he's just about the collection and he's real. You know what I mean? I love those real connection stories. So going back to what you were talking about, Brian, I mean, like you said, you don't have to have a lot of money to get into cards. You can just go to local card shops. You could hang out on Sundays at the shows and buy stuff the guys don't want to take back. You know what I'm saying? Then take it and sell some of it on ComC or go sell it. There's so many opportunities in sports cards to have fun, meet people, and find that arbitrage.
And the thing is, guys, there are so many of us smaller channels that are giving away cards, guys. I give away cards every night on my stream. Every night I try to give away part of my collection every night. But the thing is that you got to be there to win the gift. So I'm not letting people stroll in later to get it. But if you're a true fan and you want a free thing, you can show up at 9:15 on my channel and have a chance for they're not all sports. Look at that crazy cool card. Do you have to spend $1,000 to get a cool card?
So why, Brian? Why do you do that? What makes you want to do that? Why do you want to give to the hobby?
Because I love the hobby. I love the cards. Absolutely. And you know what? it doesn't need to have monetary value.
I love it.
Why do you think that's my business card? You know, it's an old foil wrapper from something I ripped back in 2000. But you know what? I got all my QR codes on the back that you can scan and go to any of my channels, any of my media channels. That's one of the things that I like to do is educate those that are coming into the hobby, things that you can do. I like to educate content creators on like this right here. If y'all were to scan that, you would see that that's a giveaway for a Ray Allen rookie card. I just need 20 comments, and I'm going to give away a graded PSA card.
Let me just say,
and the thing is that my subscribers are starting to learn to look for QR codes on everything that I do, because everything that I send out now has QR codes on it.
So can you just quickly share how you do that? And if you have a video, maybe you can leave a comment below with your how-to video, because one thing Brian's talking about, guys, is he can show you how to make a QR code. So if you got a little side hustle on sports cards, or you just want to share, promote your website, it's a great way to do it. I love the idea. In fact, the one thing I wish I had yesterday at Chantilly was I wish I had a business card, because there are a lot of people you go up and say, hey, who are you? I'm Ziggy. Like, what is, they don't know who you are. So having a card is such an awesome thing to have. And like I said, definitely check out Brian's channel to get more information on stuff like that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I guess, do we want to keep on talking about, you want me to go into Upper Deck e-cards, I guess, now?
Yeah,
or do you want me to talk more about my channel, or where it came from?
Do that. Just for the audience, again, Mike is taking a little bit of a food break, and we're going to have some other guests kind of rotate in. So I have Brian staying on a little bit longer. For other guests who are joining, if you come into the room, the green room, whatever, just hang in there. We are going to rotate those people in. Brian, I think you can share your screen. Let me show y'all
something y'all might never seen.
What is that?
Seen one of them?
No.
LeBron James rookie cards.
Oh.
You don't have to just flaunt stuff and throw stuff up on every video, but man, I've got stacks of stuff. I've got
those are the Bazooka ones, right? Is that the Bazooka Joe one?
Yeah. And I'm ripping this one on July the 2nd with fireworks behind me. Is what I'm praying on. I'm hoping that there's enough fireworks in my town that's legal.
Yeah.
That I can sit outside and have those in the background and have like a spotlight. I'm gonna give away every one of these cards because I hit 200 subscribers finally.
Now you're going to be you're an OKC fan. You're in the Oklahoma area. Is that right?
Yes. Yep. And it's crazy is because Desmond Mason was the reason I got into the hobby, and he was graduated from OSU, right? And he got drafted by the Sonics. I got his Sonics jersey right there, signed rookie jersey. He played for Milwaukee. Then he played for the Hornets. This is his warm-up jersey they wore in game.
Nice.
It's got his signature on the back or on the tag. And this is the one he played for the Thunder, like his last Yahoo before he retired here in Oklahoma. And I want to get him involved in the hobby because, guys, he's an artist. And I could think if he could do the collaboration between an NBA player getting involved in the sports card hobby, and if you follow Desmond Mason over there on Instagram, it's just him and his wife hanging out in Barbados, and they're over here, and he's loving life, and he does painting on the side. But anyway, thanks for my time, guys.
Brian, I appreciate it. And I laugh because when you're wearing a jersey that's autographed, it makes me think of myself. That's a collector thing, man. Only a collector would wear a jersey with an autograph because they love it. They're never going to resell it. He's keeping that forever, man.
Oklahoma City Hornets. Who has one?
Love it. So Bobbles, I think he's on camera. Everybody, you guys can see Bobbles, right? Brandon, thank you for joining, man. It is great to have you. For everybody who doesn't know, this is Bobbles and Ball Cards. Brandon, he's actually local to my area in the Northern Virginia area. We've met up at Chantilly, met in the past as well. One of my favorite channels. If you guys don't subscribe or follow Bobbles and Ball Cards, I do recommend it. What I like about him is he's got a lot of wealth and knowledge. Another true collector. He also understands the investment side, if you want to talk about it. I love his channel, love his conversations. I'll also say this, I'm going to give him a plug because he won't give a plug to himself. He's also the best subber for SGC cards. If you do SGC subs, I really do recommend him. It's not just because of price. It's because he takes a collector's perspective. He's going to show you every card on video. He goes through it. He talks to you. Just a really good person. And Brandon, welcome on board, man. If you can just share a little bit about yourself. Again, I'm glad to have you here today.
Hey, what's up, man? Good seeing you this weekend. I seen Crazy Cab and some others were discussing about Chantilly. It was a great show. I actually went back up today. Wasn't planning on it, but there was a couple things I seen yesterday that I came home and did some research on and went back up today. So
Nice. Any good
um,
deals? Is that because with Sunday? I assume it's probably a better buying day.
actually, um, I'll just show them. I seen these yesterday, but I didn't know much about them. It's sealed Dale Earnhardt holograms that are autographed,
Damn, that's cool.
and a guy had three of them. I didn't know much about them, but
That's cool.
I wasn't too sure if they were authentic or whatever. I came home. My wife also did some research and decided to run back up today and pick them up because I could not find anything like on eBay or anything like that of those. So I'd been wanting one of his autographs. I figured why not. I picked up an Ali autograph and then I just went real heavy on Ken Griffey Jr. Inserts this weekend. So
Nice. You
um,
showed me. I think you showed me a bunch of those. It's funny. I was gonna say I'm hearing a lot of people recently picking up autos too. You mentioned that. I know Flipping Steve was at the show yesterday picking up autos. I think it's a great
actually,
move right now. Autos are great.
I just pick up guys that I think are good future. Like,
Yep.
you know, Ali and Dale Earnhardt, they're not signing. Obviously, you know, they're both passed. Um, you know, I have back on that shelf Willie Mays, Hank, and those guys. Other than these, I didn't pick up any other autographs. I don't do a whole ton of autos. I'll pick up maybe one or so of a guy and be happy with that. Got this in a trade for basketball fans.
Very
Penny
cool.
Hardaway credentials.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, just you know, the Nationals coming next month. Just kind of
And you're
this is a
going.
different
You got a
show.
group, right? You got a house up there, and you got some collectors coming up, right?
Yeah, we so my wife, we were sad we didn't get to go to Chicago last year
Yep.
because we didn't know when it was going to happen. It kept getting pushed, and so it was late by the time we realized, you know, and we didn't have anything planned. So I didn't make my way to Chicago last year. So as soon as Chicago ended, as soon as they announced it was in AC, um, she got online and booked a house, and it's right on the water. And um, we opened it up to our Facebook group. You know, we've got a
Nice.
Facebook group. Great group of people. It's
Yep.
more like a community and family than, you know, like the bigger groups. It's small. People know each other. There's a lot of friendships been made. And we thought it was just a great idea to save everybody money to kind of get folks together that have been talking to each other for 2+ years and it became online friends to now get to meet in person and have, you know, this show experience. We hope to be able to do the same thing next year and keep that tradition going because, you know, there's a lot of people that have became friends just by, you know,
Yeah.
firing up a camera and a microphone one day.
Well, I would say what's great about what you're doing, and I think several other people are doing similar things, is you're talking about building some real hobby relationships. It's not just going to the show for a few hours and hanging out with a guy. It's we're having dinner that night, maybe opening a box together, which would be even awesome. Like to me, what I think would be fun at the National is at night, late at night, getting together with those friends back at the house and ripping some packs together, right? Having fun together, right? Talking about your stories. That's priceless stuff. And I also love the fact I know you've got Mrs. Bobbles behind you, or not behind you physically, but always behind you as far as helping out. Phenomenal collector. She loves the hobby. She's passionate. Getting those wives together, right? I think is another wonderful thing that you can only do something like that, you know, kind of at the National when you're spending that much
Yeah.
time together. So I know there's a
Yeah, there's
wait
going to be
list
a
too
couple
for
other
your.
of the members, wives or significant others.
Yep.
So they'll, you know, they'll be able to enjoy the show if they want, or go sit out at the water, whatever, you know.
Well, I'll
So
tell you,
that'll be fun as well.
somebody should sponsor that in the future. Like Fanatics should sponsor these houses for the National, and then bring collector families together because that could just be some great stories, some great insight in the collectors' minds. What's going on there? I know, in fact, shout out to Jim that I met through yesterday at the Chantilly show. I know he's going to be up there with you. I'm hoping to go up to the National too for a day or so. So I'm looking forward to saying hi to everybody. And I do again, if you're going to be up there, say hi to people. This is one of those things where location is why I'm able to go to this national. It's a drive for me. It's not a flight. Last year was a little more challenging because of Chicago, not because I didn't want to go, but just
Yeah,
is the way it
James
is.
is in chat. He's going to be at the house, and his significant other, Big Scott. He put in the chat. He has Natsman. Him and Natsman are going to ride up. They're staying at the house. I have a buddy I talk to just about daily, JJ. He's out in Michigan. Him and one of his friends are coming. They're staying at the house. Refractor Jones, he's all the way over on the West Coast. He's coming in. Sean, who won Flipping Steve's national giveaway last year.
Awesome.
He's been around my channel since the beginning. And so him and his wife are going to be coming and staying. So it's just going to be a big group of people, of folks that, some of which I've met in person, but many that I have not. And, we've all became friends over the course of over 2 years. So,
I want to give a quick shout out to Flipping Steve, who I met yesterday. Big fan of his channel. If you don't follow it, really big fan. Collector, investor, but also great guy. He has done a giveaway the last 2 years, sending somebody to the national. He's doing another giveaway Monday night. The thing I love about his giveaway is you can't just get in the drawing and come by Monday night and win. You actually have to know his channel and know him. He's gonna have this trivia contest. I think it's exciting.
I actually donated.
I hope more people will do that. I know, Bobbles, you did. You donated towards that.
Yeah, I donated some money.
I know you're listening. I'm hoping to work with Bench Clear next year. Maybe we can sponsor sending somebody to the national. I'd love to do that. Love to see more of that. I think that's really if that's one complaint I'd have to those people who've been successful is let's give more back to others who have not been as successful or is not as fortunate, right? Finding that father and son who wants to go to the national. There's so many wonderful things we can do. And I do appreciate, Bobbles, what you've done. And like I said, Flipping Steve. And I see JD is on. So I got joining us. Go ahead, Bobbles.
Real quick. So I see some folks over here in the chat. And JD was a part of the video. For anyone that watched the dumpster fire video, I think maybe, and me and you discussed it yesterday.
Yeah.
I think people misunderstood the video, and we kind of discussed it.
Yeah.
We're kind of saying the same thing. I'm not telling people or trying to mislead anyone that the fact cards have dropped. That's obvious. That's obvious. But and I'm going to use this one card out of the 8 examples. I used those 8 examples because I had used them in a video back in September of 2020. So I stuck with the same examples to use because they're great, easily obtained examples of cards. They're not serial numbered. They're not low pop. They're easy examples to get. When the Kobe Bryant went and 50x'd in 14 months. That was fake. If anybody believed that the 96 Topps Kobe Bryant PSA 10 should have been $10,000, you had lost your mind. And I am not saying that in a bad way.
In a fair way.
50x in 14 months is not natural. I don't care what card it is. It could be the 101 52 Topps Mickey Mantle. 50x is unfeasible. My point was, if you removed the shenanigans, the nonsense that was taking place from 2020 and 2021, that's why I called them spikes. Okay, we all know August had a spike in 2020, February had a spike in 2021. We know about that. If you remove those, though, and look back further than the graphs, and JD runs a chart company, whatever you want to call it, a data company, and he can even agree to it. If you look previous to 2020 and all of the shenanigans, the market is healthy.
Yeah. Yep,
people lost because they were buying where the cards were not ever supposed to get to.
But that was my point. They didn't know that. And I love this. This is definitely a topic, and we will talk about this. I think the good point to make on it, right, is this. it's an anomalous opportunity. Something happened, and you're right. If we look at overall, sports cars are better. More people are talking about it. It's healthier today than it was in the past. My only fear is that manufacturing lags the consumer, and we beg the manufacturers to make more, and they have, and now we're going to pay the penalty for that, right? So
Oh
it's
yeah.
that time will take to correct. But like I said, I agree with you. And it's funny. I don't want to go on a tangent because I heard somebody today talk about how Zion's card has crashed. But if you and you mentioned this, if you look at Zion's card in the beginning and where it is now, it's about normal, right? It's probably where it should be, considering he hasn't done anything in 2 years, right? Anyway, I want to introduce JD as well. Brandon, I appreciate you coming on board, man. You're welcome to hang out, but I'm going to talk a little bit about JD. Guys,
I'll let JD have the floor. I'm actually going to be back in a little bit on another channel that's going
awesome,
live. So
awesome, man.
Thank you for
See you,
having
Bobbles.
me on. And JD,
Brandon, thank you for being here, man.
take the
We'll
stage,
be in
brother.
touch.
Later, buddy.
I
How do I
invited
leave?
JD on. JD is another guy I've known, off and on, I think through 2020. And I
Yep.
will say real quickly, because I know he's not going to either, because again, we're not trying to commercialize this, but I am a fan of Card Hedge. I really am.
Yeah, thanks,
I'm
man.
actually shocked more people don't use it. I think you guys are too humble. One of the things I love about this your tool, real quickly, is it has all the pop report information. I know Collectible did a big thing about they had all the pop report, and I thought to myself, well, doesn't Card Hedge have that too? I'm just a big fan of what you guys have done. So I'm not here
Thank
to
you.
endorse or tell anybody to buy one. But if you are going to use one, I like Card Hedge. I'll leave it at that. JD,
Thanks.
go ahead and talk a little bit about your experience in the hobby. Tell a little hobby story and talk about you, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate you being
Yeah,
here.
man. I mean, thanks for having me on. And hello, everybody in the chat. I see a lot of familiar names, but there's really not much to me, man. I'm a normal guy that has been in and out of cards for a long time. I think 2010, 2011, maybe 2012. 2012, I think it was. I kind of went into retirement because I'm thinking of like Bryce Harper cards. And at that point, my kids were getting older. And the wife kind of gave me the old evil eye of like, listen, we need diapers. So I kind of put them away again. And, as I was saying with Bobbles the other night, it was weird, man. When Kobe died,
Yep.
I did two things. Like, I texted my buddy, dude, Kobe Bryant just died supposedly. And then I immediately, without even thinking about it, got on eBay and bought 2 rookie cards. I hadn't bought a card in like 8 years, 10 years.
That's amazing to me that you did that, because it was probably the last thing. Like I thought about Kobe, and then I started having sales come in of Kobe cards that I'd listed that all just sold. And I was like,
Yep.
oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. And it was like, so then those 2 came in, and my wife was like, why are cards coming in? And I was like, I don't know. I just, Kobe passed. I figured, what the hell? And she's like, well, you better not be getting back into this. And then the next thing you know, like Kevin Garnett started showing up left and right, and Michael Jordan and whatnot. And I'm like, yeah, I'm back.
So I have 2 questions for you. 2 quick questions,
Sure.
JD. When you were out of it, right, when you left, say in 2011 and 2012 and 13 come around, when the drafts are happening and you're looking at rookies, did you think sports cards? Does that not still register in your head?
So some of it, but I feel like in when was the lockout in the NBA? 2011, 2012. When was that?
Gosh, I wasn't watching basketball then, but I think it was 10 or 11, because you had that dual. That's why the 12 cards were kind of a dual rookie class.
So when I got really, really down on the NBA for a long time because I was such like a Jordan and Bird and all those guys, right? And then like I tried to get into the LeBron hype when he was like 18 playing for St. Jesus.
Yeah, I know you're talking about St. Mary's, maybe.
Yeah, St. Mary's. And it was pretty cool. He's on TV, he's throwing it down. It's like, Jesus, this kid's huge. He's already built like a middle linebacker at like 17. But I don't know. There was just something about LeBron where I was like, I'm not really like a fan. And it was just tough. Like I was big into baseball and hockey, and I was more like, I'm more into hockey as like a rabid Bruins fan than I am like a card collector, because for me, like, and I've made videos on this, hockey's very hard for me to collect outside of the Bruins, because like I don't like anybody else.
You
like,
passionately don't like them. You dislike them.
like, yeah, like legit. Like if opening up a pack of cards and seeing like a Canadians guy, I'm like, yeah, whatever. That's,
Yeah, rip it.
Yeah. See you later, dude. So like, but I do collect some hockey. I do collect a little bit of Crosby, and I do collect some Ovi, and some of the older guys, like the older Bruins and older guys that played when I was watching hockey back in the day. But stuff that crazy hockey people care about, but the masses don't per se, which is fine. And I'm not necessarily one for trying to please the masses. I mean, that's not how I roll. But
Let me ask
I
you,
just kind of.
my kids got me back into basketball cards. Like I had no interest in basketball. My kids got me into basketball cards because I kind of was out of it as well. I'm a Jordan fan. I think LeBron and I think basketball's fixed, but not really fixed. But there's a lot of favorites.
I do too, man.
It's very gray, right? A lot of very weird fouling. Anyway, are your kids into any of the collectibles?
Yeah. So my daughter is into soccer cards.
Nice.
She's 10. And she likes the shiny cards.
Okay.
However, I will say, at a card show, she went.
Does she like all soccer? She's not just. It's not women's soccer. She likes men's soccer. And she's a soccer fan.
Well, so she knows. So the women obviously don't get the publicity that the guys get, right?
Yep.
So I kind of force her to like. So long story short, she was digging through a dollar box. Found a Mia Hamm rookie card and a Brandy Chastain rookie card.
Nice.
And she came up to me. She's like, Dad, look at these 2 soccer cards I found. Who are these people? And I'm like, who are these people? So we came home and I turned on YouTube and I'm like, watch this.
Yeah.
So strangely enough, like, she knows the Ronaldos and the Messis and those guys. And we have, I'm in New England, so we have the Revolution up here who were a dumpster fire for a long time and all of a sudden are like legit. So we get to go through that through our soccer team and things like that. But my son, he's 5 and he thinks he's Cristiano Ronaldo. He's actually outside right now ruining all my plants in the front yard, kicking a soccer ball all over the place. So all that money I spent landscaping has just officially gone down the tube. But yeah, they do. He does like he's like. He's 5. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. So I buy him some Fortnite cards and, whatever. I give him like the commons and things like that. Stuff or I let him hold like a slab that he can't get his like nacho cheese hands on and things like that. So
I love that.
No, they're and my daughter really likes going to the shows. Like she was hustling this dude at one of the shows. He was like, $10 for that autograph, miss. And she's like, 10. She's like, well, I'll give you 5. And I was like, all right, kid. And he was like, wow, you're hustling me. And I was like, you got to teach him young, So
I think it's great.
It was like, I don't even know who the guy was, but she swung the deal for $5. It was classic. So,
yeah, see, I will be honest, my boys were really into it with me in 2020, 21, but now, to them, what's sad is it's all about money. When they open a card, so how much money can I get for it? And then my favorite thing is, it's worth $50, Dad. Can you give me $50? I want to go buy this. I'm like, hold on, it doesn't work that way. I don't just trade the money in for 50, there's fees and stuff, but I think the reason I mention is the 2 things I'd recommend to people if your kids are into cards, make videotapes with them while they're young, and we'll let you. Because now my kids won't go near a box of cards. Right? So do it while you can and enjoy that when it's still fun for them. You know what I'm saying? Really?
Yeah, we do like whenever I get like slabs back from wherever, we open that together. My daughter's always coming down. What'd you get in the mail today? She's going through the cards. She's like, who's Anthony Hardaway? I'm like, just call him Penny. Like, relax. She's like, why do they call him Penny? And then I had to get into a whole thing. And I'm, 2 hours later, I'm talking, Orlando Magic basketball. And I'm like, what is going on in my world?
It's so funny. I have a video actually on my channel from way back when we used the cards. Okay. We used to do breaks a lot, my sons and I.
Yeah.
And we got the skunk packs from Mojo. And Mojo can confirm this. They used to give away the Prism 12 packs as skunk packs, or the 13. And I have a video of my son opening the pack and he looks at the card and goes, rookie from the Bucks. Because he can't say Ante Kupo.
Yeah.
And he shows the card and throws it down, which is, a several $1,000 card today. So, and I'll tell you guys, that video to me is worth more than the card is. You know what I mean? It's that priceless moment of your child and that card that's going to live forever. Man, I love it. JD, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to bring Andy on.
All right, my brother. Thank you.
Listen, guys, please check out JD's cards. Again, I'm a big fan of Card Hedge. I don't use the data tool. I won't lie to you, but I like
it's
what
good.
I've seen with it.
It's all good.
And I'm a fan of what you guys are doing, man.
Thank
JD,
you.
we're definitely going to talk later. I also want to send a card to your daughter. I have some soccer cards, so we'll catch up
Thank
later
you, man.
on.
I appreciate that. Andy, good luck, buddy.
Thank you, man. Hey, guys,
See
this
ya.
is my friend Andy. Andy's Football Card Quest. And real quickly, just a little history here. I met Andy back, and I haven't met any of these guys really in person, but met Andy back in 2020 when you started your channel, right? In the football season. And I'll be honest, my first thought was, man, this guy's going to struggle if he just focuses on football. He's got to broaden his horizon. And man, 2 years later, your channel is booming. You've kept content coming all year long. I love your breaks, your fantasy drafts, your insight. Most importantly, Andy, I love your passion, man. I know you love football. You love football cards. So if you haven't followed Andy's channel, I recommend it. He does a lot of cool stuff in the hobby. Like I said, he's been around for several years. We have a mutual friend with Brad, comeback card investor, somebody we both know. Man, I'm really happy to have you here. So please share a little about yourself, your channel. Let's just chat about the hobby, man.
Yeah, I appreciate the kind words, Ziggy. Definitely happy to be here. Yeah, Brad actually got me back into the hobby. You know, him and I collected cards as kids in the late 90s, early 2000s. We'd ride our bikes up to the sports card shop. We were also into Pokemon cards in like middle school. Fast forward to 2020, April 2020, I did not realize how cool sports cards had gotten. He gave me a call, said, check it out. Tom Brady signed with the Buccaneers. I was super excited.
That's right.
Like I'm going to tell you a somewhat cringy story, and some of you guys in the chat may cringe when I tell you this story, but I think it's definitely a story that needs to be told. And so when I got back in, I called my dad up because my dad had been preserving our cards since the early and mid 90s. And so he's like, I got them all. They're in the attic. I've been saving them for you. So I go over to his house. I load up. I get like these big square cardboard boxes, a couple really big Tupperware containers. I take them home. I'm super excited to go through them, right? You know, I'm thinking there's a ton of stuff. I remember we had Shaq rookie cards. We had like Michael Jordan. Like I didn't know what all we had, but I knew we had some good stuff. So I started going through it. And like I opened one of the big square cardboard boxes, and the first thing that I see is a bunch of silverfish running around. Like that's the first time I realized, okay, this is what silverfish like to eat. You know, it's like, wow, there was a lot of them. So I go through, I found some good stuff. I found a binder that had a ton of like old Buck stuff. I found an 86 Topps Steve Young that I grew up with, a Troy Aikman rookie. So some really cool football cards. And then I'm like, all right, but I remember we had some basketball cards. And when I first got in, I knew basketball cards were really hot. It was the whole Last Dance craze and everything. So this is like April of 2020. So I'm going through this big Tupperware container now. I open the lid and it's a bunch of hats. But next to the hats are cards, and they're like in little clear cases and stuff. And so I'm looking at this, and I'm like, some of these cards look a little like they have some mold spots on them. I start flipping over some of these hats, and the hats were actually worn hats, like worn baseball hats, like from the 70s, 80s, even my hat, like baseball hats from when I was a kid and played t-ball and stuff, that were actually like held sweat. Apparently, this sweat turned into a big mold situation. And I'm like, all right, I found the basketball cards. Here's a little black case of 1992-93 Topps Stadium Club. And it's like a whole sealed case. And I open it up, and it's a Shaq rookie card amongst other things. And it's just caked in black mold. I mean, to the point that they were like really ruined. Like I had to throw them away. They were really bad. But I found on top of that case right here, I pulled it out because this is just goes to show you the old hobby. Check this bad boy out. Look how much plastic this is in.
Dude, it's so funny. I had mine like that as well because in '98, everybody pulled those out.
Isn't that wild?
So funny. So that didn't get affected by the mold then, right?
Did not get affected by the mold. The mold did not penetrate the
mold proof.
The 3 inches of plastic that they put this thing in. So that's how I got started. And so then I was like, all right, I tried to go through as many cards as I could, but there was a lot of them where I was like, I'm really into fantasy football. Like that's been my background as an adult. That's been my outlet as an adult since probably 2010. So I'm like, all right, I gotta figure out what to do with all these boxes of cards. I'm sure that there's somebody out there that would want to go through them, that maybe want to collect some of them. It was just like I picked some out that I like a stack. I had like a stack like this big that I thought were good players. They had some value to them. They brought back some memories, some nostalgia, some rated rookie Ken Griffey Jr.'s. And so I listed them on Facebook Marketplace. And lo and behold, I get a call from this guy, Michael Ham. Michael Ham meets me up at Lowe's here in Tampa. And he goes through, he starts going through it. He opens the first box. He sees the silverfish run around. I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot to tell you about that. And he's like, oh, no, it's no problems. It's like, I'm used to this. He's used to buying collections. So he's going through it. He makes me a reasonable offer. I know that I gave him a pretty good deal, but ultimately he walked away with the rest of those cards. Even found a card in there that was from Gene Nelson from the 80s, who was a pitcher for the Oakland A's, who is actually my dad's cousin, who autographed. And he autographed, and he actually personalized the autograph to me.
Wow!
But it's just such a funny story because Michael Ham to this day.
You didn't know Michael Ham at the time, right?
I didn't know him at the time, and then so like funny. I start my channel in like June of 2020 because I couldn't find good information correlating fantasy football with football cards, and I knew there was a ton of opportunity there, and there was a ton of information, a void that I could fill. So that's when I ultimately decided to start my channel. Plus, I really enjoy entertainment aspect of it and putting together like the videos, and you could probably see that in my editing and the design of the videos. So Michael Ham, to this day, him and I still talk. We text back and forth. We've met up at like Walmarts and Targets. And he's very active on YouTube as well. He's got his own YouTube channel. I remember the first time he popped up in a live stream. I'm like, hey, that's the guy I sold my cards to at Lowe's. And it's just and that kind of that's how I got started. So just like, if anybody's out there.
He is a great guy. In fact, it's somebody that I apologize I did not invite, and I should have invited because I've known Michael a long time. So if you're out there, shout out. Please check out his channel. Like you said, he's just a passionate collector. He knows his stuff. He's in the Tampa Bay area, fun guy. He's in a lot of the chats as well, very, very involved. So it's funny. I'll say one thing I really love that you did recently, Andy, I want to mention was with breaking the way breaking is. I'll just say this. Look, I love breaking. Breaking is not for everybody. You should know what you're doing before you get in breaking. But I love the break that you did. Andy did a break where he had a box of Hobby Box, and they did a draft where you had 8 people, so everybody got 4 teams. So you did it was a snake draft, or was an auction style draft?
It's an auction style draft, man.
Share this with everybody. What I loved about this was it's a great way to share the cost of the box fairly, and everybody have fun in the break. Can you break down what you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, Messiah MVP in the chat right there. He was in the auction draft. So auction draft is just a wonderful format to do a dynasty startup draft. If you're playing any dynasty fantasy football, this gives you regardless of where you're at in the draft, gives you a chance to get your favorite guy. If it's Patrick Mahomes, if it's Josh Allen, if it's Justin Herbert, you're never going to get an opportunity to get those guys in a Superflex dynasty startup unless you're at the first 3 to 5 picks. So I took the same concept of an auction style draft with a break. And basically I removed everything from the roster construction except for the team defenses. So only thing that people had to nominate from and bid on are teams. And because that's what, a break is comprised of, 32 NFL teams. And so you got all 32 teams. You had 8 people in the break. And what happens is there is an order, but the order is for somebody to nominate a team. So the first person goes, they nominate a team, and then everybody gets a chance to bid on this team until the clock runs down. And then when the clock gets at 10 seconds, somebody can come in with a final second bid, and you have a arbitrary budget. It's not real money, basically, arbitrary budget, whatever platform you're doing this on. And somebody makes a bid, and whoever's got the highest bid comes away with that team. But if you spend all your money, then you have no money to compete for other teams. So there's a strategy in there, whether you want to instantly nominate the team that you're going for, like the Jags, because you're trying to get Trevor Lawrence cards, right? And then try and win them with your bankroll, or maybe you nominate up the San Francisco 49ers because
to pull the other people's money out.
To pull other people to get them to spend their money, which clears out room for you then to bid up your team and win your team and still have more of your money left. It's just an incredible format. It's a lot of fun too because it brings in that eBay auction bidding element to it. And at the final seconds, you've got bidding wars going all of a sudden for the New England Patriots. And this guy ends up spending $150 of his $200 budget on the Patriots, but he got them. And it's just fun to see these guys going back and forth. And ultimately, everybody comes away with the team that they wanted, at least 1 to 2 teams that they want.
I say what I think's fun about it is it gets everybody involved. It's fair and equal balance. The one thing I would recommend, my only caveat, because these hobby boxes are awesome, put a little clause in there. Like if a monster card is pulled, all 8 teams share in the price, whatever the sell is. Could be something you throw in there. Just an idea. Like, could you imagine pulling the Mac Jones 101 in one of those breaks, man? Just an idea.
Man.
But anyway, Andy,
would...
I thank you very much for being on. I'm gonna bring Raul on. Again, guys, if you haven't checked out Andy's channel, Fantasy Football Card Quest, he has fantasy football stuff, card information, football guru. Love his breaks. Love what you're doing. I have a care package coming in the mail for you, man. I got a breakers mat and some stuff I'm sending to you as well, man. And I look forward to meeting in person down the road, Andy. Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Man. You too, Ziggy. Shout out to LOB Roses and Tom Bullard and Francesco. I noticed those guys on my channel as well, so I want to quickly shout out to them. And thank you for having me on, Ziggy. And,
thank you, man.
Yeah, good luck to you, Raul.
Thank you. Raul,
thank you, Andy.
Guys, let me introduce Raul. I don't know if you guys follow Raul's channel. Big fan, AIH Sports. I've been following Raul probably for a year or so. I'll say that Raul sometimes put in the category of as the negative guy or the naysayer. I love your channel. I love your content because I always ask the question, why? Why did the person put a video together? Why did they say that? And you seem to ask a lot of those questions, and your approach has been better than mine. Sometimes I'm like a bull in a china shop, and you're like a scalpel. So keep doing what you're doing. But I am going to ask you to talk a little bit about your hobby love. This is Hobbypalooza. We're sharing hobby stories. So talk a little bit about you. What got you in the hobby? What do you like about the hobby? And we'll take it from there, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Ziggy, for having me on here, by the way. And
thank you, man.
Yeah, it's nice to be part of this. So when I was younger, getting into cards, I was always into sports. Yep. And me being in Chicagoland, I always watched the Chicago Cubs. You had Harry Carey as the announcer with Steve Stone. I don't know if you watched WGN or if you had it. You're in the East
I know what you're talking about. Sometimes because it gets picked up nationwide.
Yeah, so. And it's no longer on WGN, the Cubs games. It's now on Marquee, the own Cubs network. But back in the day, people from all over the U.S. could watch the games on WGN. But, me, I watched the Cubs very intensely. And then finally, I think my cousin or my aunt, she gave me hand-me-down cards of his. So I was really into that. And going into the 1998 season, I had some Sammy Sosa rookies with me, and then a Mark McGwire rookie. I thought I hit the jackpot, but it wasn't, the actual Mark McGwire rookie. It was also in crappy condition.
Which card was it, though?
Just trying to think.
Was it the 87 or the 85? I'm just curious. Or was it one of the Don?
It must have been 87.
Okay.
Because, it wasn't the 85 for sure. But fast forward to what, like 3-4 years ago, it was 2018.
Yep.
I was in an antique shop because my wife is into Funko Pops. I told her, hey, some guy in offer up sells Funko Pops at an antique store by us. So we went there, and then I found all these baseball cards, and I'm like, hey, this is interesting. I was just going through all of them to see, hey, whose card is there? And then I saw, hey, there's a Chipper Jones rookie card from the 1990s. And I know it was the junk slab era at that point, but still, it just got me interested. Like, hey, people actually grade these cards, and I never thought of that. And then it just opened up all these doors. I started doing my research at that point, and bada bing, bada boom. After some failures, buying junk on an auction site, and then I realized, hey, I should focus on my speculative bets on, guys like Derek Jeter, who's going to be in the Hall of Fame, then later Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. And then that was the speculative side. Then the collecting side, it's everything based on Chicago. So, I just started getting Rodman autographs online. I got all these guys, Scottie Pippen, Anthony Rizzo later on. The list goes on and on. Urlacher, and then the old coach of the Bears, Ditka. So my collecting perspective is more of a Chicago-based theme because I've lived in Chicagoland all my life. So,
Now, are there any PC pieces that you'd never part with that you absolutely, that there's no price tag on, that have like some sentimental value for some other reason?
Well, I have this Grail card, or let's get into this conversation. Grail,
Yeah.
and I did pick this up for pennies on the dollar, I would say, and it was maybe $25 shipped to my house. It's a Khabib Blue Refractor card, 2013,
Okay.
and then I sent it to PSA over a year ago. It's a PSA 10. I don't want to sell it unless I need the money. If I need the money, then I will sell it. So it is
And
more.
that's not even Chicago related, right? Khabib.
It's not Chicago related, but it's just,
Okay.
a great card.
Yep.
And I don't want to part with it. Yeah. So, yeah, that is one of my non-Chicago based items. But at the same time, I really like Khabib as a fighter. And it's just something I really don't want to get rid of, to be honest, because it just looks so nice.
It's funny because I never would have guessed that. Because I'm not like, to me, I would have. I don't know. I like the player stories. You know what I'm saying? Like players. I mean, Khabib. I just think, could he just be gone in a few? Like, is he really cemented as an all-time great? I don't know UFC enough, I guess.
I mean, I'm not the expert in UFC, but he is undefeated. So,
and he retired, right? That's the guy who
yeah,
retired.
he retired, I think,
Okay.
in 2020.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
believe. But
Okay,
yeah,
that makes
it was
sense.
the year
I
of
was for
COVID.
some reason I was thinking he was a rookie card. Is there a different rookie Khabib or no?
Yeah, I think there's a 2012 card as
Okay.
well. But people consider a 2012, 2013 around that range. I mean, if I were to sell it on Golden, I could probably get well, in a down market, at least $3,000. But I don't know. It's these auctions are illiquid.
Yeah, I would say I'm not a big
volume is illiquid, so
I'm not a big fan of the auction houses anyway. I'm more of the collector. I'd rather find the collector
Right.
who wants it and try to help them get a better deal. I'm a
Exactly.
Facebook person. You can find a lot of great people on Facebook,
Right,
Facebook
right.
communities and stuff.
Right.
What other things do you? I know you do the finance stuff, but on the
Right.
collecting side, what other how do you typically acquire cards? Do you buying singles? Do you do breaks at all, or what other things do you?
I have done a break one time, but it was just to see how it goes. I've heard stories about breaks, so I stay away from them. And
Yeah.
now a lot of them are costly. And I usually, when I'm buying, I know what I want. So if I'm going on eBay, it's just, I could be in my pajamas late at night on my phone and then, just hit the buy button. So if I see a card that I want for my collection, I found a Rizzo and a Chris Bryant card one of these days. It didn't cost that much, but
Yeah.
just stuff like that. If I go to a show, I'm just trying to find out items that I can't find on eBay, but then, hey, look, I've showed this numerous times, like this Rizzo autograph. Like this is, stuff that I'm looking for that you can't find on eBay, or it's way too much on eBay compared to when I was looking. And, if I find a Chris Bryant autograph, then, I'm definitely going to buy it. But, sometimes they're way overpriced on eBay, and sometimes you got to go to the shows to buy it. And you could also find some interesting things at shows that you can't find on eBay.
It's funny, Chris Bryant, when you mentioned him, he was 2015, right? Rookie of the year, is that correct? Or is it 16?
Yeah, it was, I believe, 2015. Yeah.
So I'll just tell you a quick short story. I had just gotten back in the hobby then, and
Yeah.
I was big into Facebook groups. And one of the first Facebook groups I got in is one, I think it was called Slab Hut.
Yeah.
And what blew my mind was the Chris Bryant card, I think was selling for, I'm grabbing some, I'm wild ass guessing here. It was $100 card. It sold for like $300 because it was graded. And that blew my mind. It was the first experience where I saw grading impacting the value of a card. And that was many years ago. And today, look at how that's kind of changed the market. Now, I just saw Mike gave us the wrap up. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I'm going to go ahead and thank you, Raul, for joining. Guys, real quickly, if you haven't already, please get your chat donations. Actually, not for my channel, but for the other channels coming up. Mike O is the next guy up. So if you have any chats, feel free to put those super chats in there. You get entries into the drawing, which I totally forgot about emphasizing that in the beginning of my video. So I want to mention that at the end here. I'm going to wrap up, guys. Raul, thank you very much. I hope you guys enjoyed just listening to some hobby stories, listen to some of the content creators that are out there. Again, my takeaway, guys, Hobbypalooza, the hobby's about sharing, debating, enjoying each other, trading, whatever it might be. But again, treat each other the way you want to be treated. I think is the most important thing. Mike and the Hobbypalooza guys, thank you very much for having me here, guys. Really, really enjoyed it. Like I said, Mike O's up next. Please get your donations ready. Let's help the charity we're working for, which I believe is Signature for Soldiers. Raul, guys, thank you very much. Mike, I'm out of here.